I think for me personally, Parks and Recreation has always been in the background, even though I didn't know it was Parks and Recreation. So I grew up in a large family. There were 6 of us. Often we had cousins living with us and grandmother, etc. So especially in the early years when we moved to this country, we weren't in a very big space. So it was all about getting outdoors. And my mother was like, go outdoors so that she could have some sanity. So we were always outdoors, playing in the parks and going to the local parks and pools, etc., getting ourselves into a little bit of trouble. But for me, it was that opportunity to just have something else to do than just being cooped up in the house and learning about the things that I was interested in and sort of looking for ways to stay engaged. I think also parks especially were really important to my family because that's where we did our celebrations. That's where you do your morning. That's after church you go to the park. When something bad happens, you go to the park. When you're celebrating somebody's birthday, you go to the park. And so it's just always been an important part of sort of that our culture in our family. I literally stumbled into it when I was working in Washington, D.C. The administration at the time asked me to come in and help with Parks and Recreation. I was working in education at the time. And I went into the role of director there without having any prior experience in Parks and Recreation. My experience had really been in education, but on the operations side. But this was, at the time, Parks and Recreation was struggling with lots of resource issues, challenges with just getting things done. And the administration asked me to step in and help out. So I went in there and really 2 things struck me. One was just the tremendous amount of commitment that those employees at DC Parks and Recreation had each and every day. And they did it in so many ways in spite of what the community was helping them do, right? They were the ones that they were chronically underfunded and things just didn't get any credit for the work that they were doing, and they were so incredibly committed. And then at the same time, what struck me is, so in education, you work with this cool community, and that community can be large, but it's still fairly limited as for that population. I think what struck me in Parks and Recreation is how we touch every single community and every facet of that community, right? All of the age groups, all of the people who live there. And so it's just a unique opportunity to really try to impact the well-being of an entire community. I think what I would say to people who are looking at Parks and Recreation as a new field, I would really say to them that this really is the place where you can impact all aspects of somebody's life, all aspects of what a community feels like and its ability to be successful. Parks and Recreation touches mental health, physical health, touches security, touches economic development, and touches education, like all these pieces. And so, if you're someone who really cares about people and about communities and about the environment, this is a place to do it. I think the most significant impact that NRPA can and has had and should continue to have on professionals is really driving, a couple things. One is sort of driving towards where we think how we're best going to serve our community. So having a national footprint, you're able to see all of the great things that are happening across the country in various communities, and really pulling up some of those best practices and talk about, well, here are the things that we really should be focusing on, and be able to sort of put some stakes in the ground in terms of what we believe is important for community building. And then, of course, the other thing is providing this professional development. As I mentioned, I really was so new to this work, and I literally just immersed myself in everything that NRPA had to offer in terms of the educational and in terms of the networking and the ability to interact with other people who were doing the same thing that I was doing was really a phenomenal thing. So just really being able to provide the sharing of best practices and provide just the opportunity for folks to get together and share. A mentorship is such a key part of anybody's individual life, right? I mean, I think we all have professional mentors, whether, they're specifically called your mentors, but we all have the folks that we lean on. Some of them are just peers who are doing the same work that you're doing or have done it before you, and you can lean on them to help guide you. I think the other piece about the work that we do as we build community is that we also have to model the way that life works, right? Like nobody can be completely successful on their own, right? When we're in community centers working with our populations, we have to learn and teach folks that you need to work together. And I think as the youth programmers are always talking to their program participants about, leadership skills, whether you're using those terms or not, but it's all about supporting each other. And so I think that just modeling this idea that if you are fortunate enough to have some success, and we all do, you have to keep bringing people along, and you have to share what you're learning. And I think the other thing is I learn more about the work that I do when I talk to somebody about it, when I share my experiences with somebody else, because you're able to reflect in a different way. I am absolutely passionate about the work that I do. Right now, my job is a peripheral to a city municipal work. We work hand in hand with the local Parks and Recreation Department. But for me, and my career in education and my career now has really always been dedicated to serving people. And personally for me, because I feel like I've had such a tremendous amount of opportunity, it's always about serving the people who need it the most. And I think I'm able to do that in Parks and Recreation, whether it's the one greenway that we're working on now, or when I was working in a larger system. And that gets me up in the morning. That's what makes me really excited, being able to know that I'm positively impacting people's lives in a way that is really important to them. I think my hope for the future within the industry is pretty simple, which is that everybody in this country feels as passionate about the power of the work that we do as we do. And I think that, again, focusing on the communities that have the least, I think in order to really lift those communities, all of us have to be thinking about how we support them. And I really am absolutely convinced that Parks and Recreation is at the center of how we can do that. Like I was saying, we touch on every single thing to help build these healthy, resilient communities.